Discover the incredible moment a millionaire transformed a poor girl's life in 24 hours. Lily stood behind the counter at the Maplewood Diner, her dark ponytail swaying as she moved. Raindrops drumming on the roof set the backdrop for the unfolding drama of her quiet life. A life poured into serving coffee and flipping pancakes for the local families scraping by just like her. She wore a bright smile, always, even though she battled fatigue from long hours spent thinking of her mother struggling at home. Education was all Lily had left to hold on to, a wish glowing like a distant star in her heart, a gateway from their poverty to a college dream. Yet, like a pesky vine, the pressure of bills and food weighed on her shoulders. Across town, Mark Donovan stepped out of his sleek car, fumbling under an umbrella, feeling the rain and the distance like a heavy fog around him. He was a successful entrepreneur, yet loneliness wrapped around him tighter than a wet jacket. As he made his way into the diner, it felt like entering a completely different world. Warmth, laughter, and the clinking of plates filled his ears. His eyes immediately found Lily. She moved like a ray of sunshine, her laughter lighting up the small space, serving customers with an energy that was infectious, like a balm for his weary soul. Each time he visited, she brightened his day despite the weight of the storm cloud hanging over them both. One afternoon, the storm turned fierce. The diner filled as people rushed in to escape the chaos outside. Suddenly, jolted by an announcement, everyone stared at the terrible news flooding their small town. Homes were damaged, lives disrupted, and panic spread like wildfire. Amid the urgency, Lily became a wild spark of energy, rallying her neighbors, organizing supply drives, and leading efforts to help those in need. She never slowed down, untapped courage brightening the stormy day as she shone like a lighthouse guiding them forward. But the aftermath brought change, too. Mark realized he had a chance, an opportunity to make a difference. He approached Lily one evening, the diner gleaming under the low-hanging lights, and offered to pay for her college tuition. She froze, eyes wide, heart racing. Was this his way of helping? Or was it a way to put distance between their lives once more? Torn between pride and an overwhelming desire for opportunity, Lily backed away, fear bubbling to the surface. "This isn't charity," she said, her voice firm but shaking. She challenged him, his privilege, the gap between their worlds glaring in the dim light. They exchanged raw honesty amid the uncertainties, one seeking to connect, the other standing strong on the ground she fought so hard to maintain. Before they could find common ground, a harsh whisper spread among the townspeople. A misunderstanding boiled over. Who deserved help? Who should be prioritized? Their fragile connection was stretched thin as the debate hung over them like storm clouds, once more a question of dignity, of worth. How do you define success and kindness? They stood, hearts pounding, as the tension of their community surged, entwining their fates, leaving them both dangling on the edge of uncertainty. Would they find a way to navigate the tumultuous waters of their intertwining destinies? A profound question loomed, a question that could reshape the fabric of their lives. The days following the storm felt heavy with anticipation. The town grappled with understanding how to rebuild, while Lily kept going, smiling, serving, but her mind was often elsewhere. Each ding of the diner's bell announcing a new customer reminded her of Mark's offer. It echoed in the corners of her mind like the stubborn raindrops that refused to stop. As she poured coffee into chipped mugs and flipped pancakes at the grill, those words replayed over and over. I want to help. But help from someone like him felt complicated. In the midst of this emotional whirlpool, Lily's close friend Jenna became the tether to reality. One rainy morning, Jenna slid into the booth across from Lily, her wet hair clinging to her face. You okay? She asked, her tone cautious. Lily bit her lip. I just can't stop thinking about Mark's offer. A glimmer of concern crossed Jenna's face. This is your future we're talking about. You've worked so hard. Why wouldn't you take it? It doesn't feel right, Lily sighed. I don't want to feel like I owe him something. Yet deep down, a voice whispered of possibilities, of classrooms, books, and a life beyond the diner. Meanwhile, Mark was wrestling with his own thoughts. He had faced criticism from his peers for trying to extend a hand to the locals amid their distress. "You think you can fix everything with money?" his business partner had asked. Those words sat heavily on his chest. He never wanted to be perceived as out of touch or patronizing. It was a genuine offer, fueled by admiration for Lily's spirit. But now, he felt the weight of doubt pressing down on him. As the days passed, tension simmered beneath the surface. Lily could sense the town whispering behind her back. She overheard snippets of conversations that twisted her feelings of gratitude into something darker. Would they think she betrayed them? That she wasn't strong enough to pull herself up by her own bootstraps? On a particularly bright afternoon, as sunbeams broke through the chaotic clouds, Mark decided to visit the diner again. He had to see Lily, to clear the air, to explain without the pressure of their past conversation hovering between them. As he entered, the familiar warmth wrapped around him, but this time, his heart raced with uncertainty. Lily glanced up, and their eyes locked. Her composure faltered for a moment as emotions swirled in the air between them. "Hey," he said softly, approaching the counter. "Hey," she replied, cheeks flushed. It felt like an electric current surged through the tiny space connecting them, charged with tension and unspoken words. "I know things got intense the other day," Mark began, his voice steady but vulnerable. "I don't want to create a rift, Lily. I just thought maybe it could be a way to help. Your dreams matter." Lily's heart thudded loudly against her chest. "But at what cost?" she asked, eyes flashing with the courage she had held onto throughout her struggles. As Mark opened his mouth to respond, a voice from the back called out, shattering the moment. "What's it gonna be, Lily? Are you taking his money or not?" A wave of murmurs rippled through the diner. All eyes were on them now. The weight of the entire town's judgment felt unbearable. Lily looked around the diner, her stomach twisted in knots. She had never wanted to let anyone down, but in that moment, she felt more lost than ever. Would she reject help and risk missing her dreams, or would she embrace a notion that might alter the way everyone perceived her? Deep down, a part of her knew this was only the beginning. How could she ever truly define her success on her own terms if the path remained unclear? With everyone waiting, she took a deep breath. "I need to think." Mark watched as her face hardened with determination mingled with fear. Would her answer change the trajectory of their lives forever? But uncertainty still hung in the air like the early morning mist, and there were far more questions to answer. What would she decide? And how would that change their worlds? Lily stood frozen, her heart thundering in her chest as she scanned the diner. Faces contorted in a mix of curiosity, judgment, and perhaps hope, bore down on her. The walls seemed to close in, the chatter muted around her as she realized the weight of their expectations. She wanted to scream, to run, to cocoon herself in the safety of her own thoughts. "Lily?" Mark's voice was a lifeline in the storm of emotions swirling within her. "Take your time. I'm here." His sincerity pierced through the fog of anxiety wrapping around her mind. She met his gaze again, searching for some sign of understanding. The warmth of his eyes held a flicker of patience, but the pressure of the moment clawed at her insides. What if she disappointed everyone? Jenna, sensing Lily's distress, leaned closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "You have to do what feels right for you. Forget everyone else for a moment." The murmurs quelled momentarily, and an eerie silence settled in the diner. It was as if time paused just for her. Lily's resolve wavered. Could she really carve out her own path, or would she forever be stuck in this cycle of struggle? "I know change is scary," Mark added gently, breaking the silence. "But it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Think about what you want." The truth of his words felt like an unexpected embrace. What did she want? The thought was exhilarating and terrifying all at once. She had spent so long trying to keep the diner afloat and her dreams buried beneath plates of pancakes and endless coffee refills. "Maybe I could explore the opportunities," she said hesitantly, the words tumbling out before she could catch them. But it can't just be about money. This town has my heart, my life. I can't betray that. A soft murmur spread through the diner, a mixture of surprise and understanding. It was a vulnerable admission, but a part of her felt lighter just saying it. Mark nodded, an expression of respect painting his features. I understand, Lily. This isn't me trying to change who you are. This is a chance to expand what you can be. Before Lily could form another thought, a voice burst from the corner, a young girl with bright eyes. But if you really want to help, Lily, you could do so much more. The girl's words hit home harder than anything else. What if using Mark's offer didn't mean abandoning her roots? Maybe it could mean lifting others as well. Lily's mind spiraled into a series of what-ifs. Why don't we set up a community program? She suggested, her voice barely containing the excitement bubbling inside her. If I go, I can get resources for the town. We could rebuild together. An electric energy sparked in the air, and whispers turned into an outright buzz. Hope flickered in the eyes of the townspeople, and Lily felt a swell of determination rising within her. I want to bring something back that isn't just for me, she announced, her voice growing steadier. I want to bring it back for all of us. Mark's face lit up. That's exactly what I meant, Lily. This can be a partnership, a way to empower not just you, but the whole community. But just as the atmosphere shifted, a voice interrupted from the back again, full of skepticism. And what makes you think they'll let you? Lily's pulse quickened, anxiety crashing back down. What if she was reaching too far? What if her dreams were unrealistic and inviting failure? But as she glanced at the faces around her, those who had lifted her up in her toughest moments, she felt a tingling spark of courage. She couldn't lose sight of her vision, not this time. Things have to change if we want to survive, she replied, the steadiness in her voice growing stronger again. And I'm ready to fight for it. Lily looked at Mark, her heart pounding, knowing she stood at a crossroads. Would he support her vision, or would the fear of judgment hold them both back? Let us do it, he said, eyes glimmering with euphoria, and in that moment, a new chapter unfurled before her. But as the horizon stretched out with possibilities, the lingering question remained: could she truly lead her town into a brighter future without losing herself in the process? Lily felt as if the whole diner erupted in a chorus of emotions. The hope, the excitement, the doubts, they hummed around her like a wild symphony. She took a deep breath, trying to anchor herself amid the whirlwind of anticipation and fear. Okay, let us get to work, she said, her voice rising above the murmurs. Mark leaned in closer, a genuine smile breaking across his face. All right then. What's our first move? The moment felt surreal. For so long, her days had been filled with the mundane rhythm of coffee cups and conversation, always looking out for everyone else. Now, she was finally considering her own dreams. A flicker of excitement sparked as she imagined a gathering of community members brainstorming ideas. Maybe we start by gathering everyone's input? She suggested. I want to know what they need the most. That's perfect, Mark replied, his enthusiasm feeding her growing resolve. Let us set up a meeting next week. We'll make sure everybody's involved. Their ideas can really inspire the direction we take. As Lily sat back in her chair, her mind swirled with the responsibilities ahead. Would she really be able to handle this? Doubts crept in, but she pushed them aside, refocusing on the flicker of hope glowing just within reach. Across the diner, familiar faces beamed with encouragement. Jenna raised her coffee cup. To Lily, the heart of our town. Cheers bubbled up, and laughter mixed with clinks of glasses filled the air. It felt like a promise wrapped in unity. The realization pounded in her chest: this wasn't just about her anymore. This was about every person who had ever walked through the diner doors, every family invested in the thread of community. A new weight pressed against her, but instead of feeling crushed, it filled her with purpose. That evening, Lily organized her thoughts in front of a blank notepad. Ideas spilled out like a cascading waterfall: youth programs, adult education courses, small business workshops. Each scribbled line fueled the fire inside her, pushing her dreams to the forefront of her mind. Yet, the skepticism still whispered like a persistent shadow, quieting her excitement. It was there, lingering in her gut, the voice asking, "What if it all fails?" She shook her head, determined to silence it. The following days were a blur of preparation. Flyers went up around town, community boards filled with excitement as people began talking about the upcoming meeting. Lily felt the buzz electrify her spirit in a way she hadn't felt in years. On the day of the meeting, the diner brimmed with life. She looked around the crowded room, heart racing as she took stock of the faces: friends, families, even a few people she barely knew but who had come to support. "Welcome, everyone," she began, her voice steady despite the nervous flutters within. There was a shared breath, a collective hope hanging in the air. She shared her vision, speaking about community programs and collaboration, and as she did, she could feel the energy in the room building. Then, just as it seemed like the tide was shifting in her favor, a familiar face from the back of the diner raised an eyebrow, a shadow of doubt lurking beneath the surface. "That's a nice idea, but you think the town will really back you?" Lily felt the wind knock out of her sails for a moment, but she took a breath, recalling the support she had witnessed just days before. "I believe if we work together, we can show them our determination," she replied, her voice unwavering. A silence hung for a second before a gentle but firm voice chimed in from the crowd, "She's right. We need to show them that we're ready to take the first step." Applause rose in response, rippling through the diner, reigniting the fire of hope. But the question lingered even with the excitement mounting: would her passions ignite the town's spirit, or would the shadows of doubt snuff it out before it began? As Lily stepped off the makeshift stage, she couldn't shake the sense that this was just the beginning. The real journey lay ahead, entwined with challenges that would test her resolve. And as the crowd buzzed with energy, she wondered not just if they would support her, but if she was truly ready for the fight to come. Would she have the strength to stand tall, no matter what lay ahead? As the buzz of conversations filled the diner, Lily felt a swell of emotions, hope intertwined with anxiety. Every voice melded into a comforting blanket of support, yet the weight of uncertainty still pressed heavily on her shoulders. She glanced around, searching for a familiar face, and found Mark nodding enthusiastically, his optimism a beacon leading her through the fog of doubt. "Let's divide into smaller groups," she proposed, her confidence growing with each passing second. "That way, everyone can really dive into their ideas." The room resonated with murmurs of agreement, and they naturally began to sort themselves into clusters, laughter punctuating the air as tables transitioned into huddled brainstorming sessions. With a notepad in hand, Lily floated between groups, jotting down every idea, each one a tiny thread weaving into the fabric of their collective vision. As she listened to her neighbors speak passionately about arts programs or farmers' markets, her heart swelled. This wasn't just her initiative anymore. This was theirs. In one corner, Jenna animatedly discussed a tutoring program for local kids. "We have to make education accessible, especially for those who can't afford extra help," she insisted, her eyes sparkling. Lily nodded in agreement, wondering at how quickly friends turned into allies, but then, as if her thoughts had summoned it, doubt swooped back in uninvited. What if the townsfolk cared only for what they could gain, rather than the unity of the community? "Hey, can we talk?" Mark's voice cut through her spiraling thoughts. He motioned for her to step aside. "Sure," she replied, panic bubbling under the surface. "What's up? You look a little overwhelmed." "Just remember, it's okay to feel unsure. You're tackling something big here," he said gently. "But you don't have to have all the answers. Just keep listening." Lily took a deep breath, grateful for his steady presence. "I know. It's just I want this to work for everyone, you know? I'm scared it won't be enough." Mark's expression softened. That's what makes you a great leader. You care deeply. It'll show. Trust in that. With renewed determination, she returned to the crowd, where energy flowed as easily as the coffee. Projects evolved, sparking enthusiasm that filled the room with electric possibilities. But there was still a flicker of tension in the corner, the disbeliever from earlier still observing with skepticism. "All right," Lily called out, gathering everyone's attention again. "Let's discuss how we can turn these dreams into concrete plans. What action steps do we want to take first?" As the excitement flared, they debated timelines and resources, each voice adding depth to the foundation they were laying. Yet even amid the fervor, her attention drifted back to doubt. The crowd was growing, sure, but that voice at the back of the room loomed large in her mind. When the meeting finally wrapped up, cheers echoed in the diner, but as Lily looked around, she noticed one table sat so silently it felt out of place, a collection of faces wearing frowns. What were they thinking? Did they share the same hope she did, or were they silently concocting a plan for sabotage? "Lily," Jenna said, nudging her arm. "It's amazing. Look at all this enthusiasm." Lily felt that familiar mix of pride and fear. "Yeah, but what if we can't keep it going? What if nobody shows up next time? Then we try again." "You've already ignited something incredible here," Jenna reassured, squeezing her hand. "Just keep pushing forward." As Lily left the diner, her heart raced not just from the thrill of success, but the lurking shadows that would follow every step she took moving forward. She could sense the weight of her responsibility. Would the town rally around her, or would the obstacles begin to crumble her resolve? And beyond that lingering skepticism, what far greater challenges awaited her down this path she'd chosen? A shiver ran down her spine. There was no backing down now. With the stakes escalating, she knew the journey was far from over. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the town as Lily walked home. Each step felt heavier with anticipation. The diner had been a whirlwind of hope and excitement, but outside, the silence pressed against her like a warning bell. What if they don't care enough? She whispered to herself, the uncertainty spiraling in her mind again. Every cheer from earlier seemed distant now, drowned out by the weight of her worries. Arriving at her front door, she hesitated. It felt like her home was both a sanctuary and a cage. Stepping inside, the familiar scent of cinnamon from her mom's baked goods enveloped her. It was comforting, yet another voice in her head reminded her that while she dreamed big, the reality of expenses and survival loomed ever closer. "Hey, Mom," she called, sliding off her shoes. "Lily. You're back." Her mom emerged from the kitchen, flour dusting her cheeks and a smile lighting up her face. "How was the meeting?" "Busy, really busy," Lily replied, forcing a smile. "We had so many good ideas. But I don't know. What if it all falls apart?" Her mom paused, wiping her hands on a dish towel. "You're doing something brave, honey. You care about your community. That counts for a lot. But what if they only see their own needs?" Lily's voice trembled. "What if I'm just dreaming?" Her mother stepped closer, placing a comforting hand on Lily's shoulder. "Sometimes, dreams are all we have. And sometimes they're the first step towards something amazing. Trust yourself." As Lily sat down at the kitchen table, she felt the warmth from her mother's words seep into her. "I just let it out." Her mom's voice was gentle, urging. Lily closed her eyes, letting her heart spill over. "What if I fail? What if the next meeting is a disaster? What if I lead people on only to let them down?" Her mother wrapped her arms around her, holding her tight. "You aren't alone in this. You've gathered people who believe in the community, in you. Take it one step at a time." "Yeah," but Lily sighed, fearing the truth in her heart. What if the people who don't believe manage to sway the ones who do? Those are the real battles, Lily. But they are also the ones that can lead to something transformative. Sometimes it takes just one person's heart to change a room full of doubts. Lily pulled back, searching her mother's eyes for certainty. What if they're right? What if I can't pull this off? This is your moment, her mother said, a flicker of pride in her gaze. And you'll stand strong. Every community needs a person like you, willing to take risks and face fears head-on. Just then, a text buzzed in her pocket, shattering the intimate moment. It was from Mark. Hey! Tomorrow's meeting. I have a surprise for you. She bit her lip, a mix of curiosity and apprehension fluttering inside. Mom, Mark just texted. He has a surprise for me. Sounds intriguing, her mom encouraged, backing away to finish dinner. Just remember, surprises can be good or bad. As she pondered, Lily felt a flicker of excitement. Could this surprise help to bridge the gap between the believers and skeptics? Filled with a newfound resolve, she grabbed her notepad, scribbling reminders about the upcoming meetings, the encouragement from Jenna, and the tidal wave of hope that had started the night before, but doubt still nagged at her, an ever-present whisper that demanded attention. Have you lost your way? It questioned softly, echoing her deepest fears. As night fell, she stared at the ceiling, visions of the diner crowd dancing in her mind. Would they gather again? Would the momentum continue? Lily silently vowed to confront the remaining voices of doubt, to prove that dreams could take root and grow, and just as sleep began to weave its way through her thoughts, another message came through on her phone. It was from an unknown number. I know what you're planning, and I want to let you succeed. Consider this a warning. Her heart raced, panic clawing at her insides. What was happening? Was she really being threatened? And could she face this unseen challenge while trying to unify her community? With her stomach in knots, she knew she had to confront this head-on. Tomorrow held more than just a meeting, it held the weight of her journey thus far. Would she be able to fight through the shadows that loomed ahead or risk losing everything she had fought for? Lily tossed and turned, sleep elusive as her mind raced. The unknown message replayed in her head like a broken record. I want to let you succeed. What could that even mean? Was someone actively trying to sabotage her efforts? As dawn's light crept through her windows, her resolve hardened. She wouldn't let fear paralyze her. Instead, she pulled on a hoodie and set out for a morning run, the cool air filling her lungs, the rhythmic pounding of her feet against the pavement grounding her. Each step seemed to shake off the shadows of doubt, if only for a moment. Arriving back home, she found her mother sitting at the kitchen table, sipping coffee with a contemplative expression. The smell of freshly baked muffins wafted through the air, but Lily's stomach churned with anxiety. Morning, Mom, Lily said, forcing a bright smile. Good morning, sweetheart. There's something about today, I can feel it, her mom replied, glancing up with a glimmer of hope. Lily chuckled softly, but her heart trembled. I hope you're right. I just need to get through this meeting. Just be yourself, her mother encouraged. And remember, you're not just representing your ideas, but the hopes of so many people. You've got this. Feeling the weight of her mother's support, Lily retrieved her notes and looked over them carefully, preparing for every question, every challenge that might arise. She would be ready for anything, especially now that an unexpected threat loomed. Later, as she arrived at the community center, the sun shone brightly overhead. She took a deep breath before stepping inside. The room was buzzing with chatter, people pulling chairs together, laughter mingling with the clinking of mugs. She spotted familiar faces, her friends, some concerned locals, all buzzing with curiosity about Mark's surprise. Hey, Lily. Jenna called from the back. You ready for this? Yeah, I think so, Lily replied, her nerves flaring slightly. When Mark entered, the crowd quieted instantly. He had a magnetic energy about him. All right, everyone. He exclaimed, flashing a grin. I have something to share that I think will really uplift our initiative. We've got new funding opportunities to discuss. Gasps of excitement rippled through the audience. Lily's heart leaped. The news had the potential to catalyze everything. As Mark laid out the plans, she glanced at the gathering, so many faces representing dreams, fears, and hopes. For a heartbeat, the worries faded as a tide of energy surged through her, but then her phone buzzed with another message from the unknown number. "You want to get the money. I'll make sure of it." Panic bubbled up again, sinking into her gut. How could this be happening? She forced herself to focus, to breathe through the rising tide of anxiety. The meeting was too important. This was about more than just her. Lily. Mark's voice broke through her thoughts. Everyone was looking at her now, waiting. "What do you think? This could be a game changer for us." It was her moment, but the weight of all the uncertainty threatened to crush her. She took a deep breath, drawing on every ounce of courage she had. "Thank you, Mark," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "This is incredible, and I believe this is exactly what we need to rally the community." As she spoke, a warm rush filled her. It was as if she was drawing strength from the room around her. The laughter, the excitement, the hope, they were all there, echoing like a heartbeat, but just as she began to feel at ease, a figure at the back caught her eye, someone she hadn't noticed until now, a shadow lurking just beyond the threshold. Their gaze locked onto hers, and an unsettling chill slithered down her spine. Who were they? And what did they want from her? As the meeting continued, Lily felt the weight of the unknown press closer, the message still echoing in her mind. Would she muster the strength to face her fears, or would the shadows loom larger than the gathering wave of hope surrounding her? The stakes were higher than she realized, and soon, she would have to confront not only the challenge of uniting her community but the threat that promised to unravel everything she had tried to build. Could she emerge stronger from this, or would the forces against her prove too great? Lily's heart raced as she felt all eyes on her. She could sense the anticipation in the room, but for a moment, she was paralyzed by the tension. The figure at the back continued to observe, unmoving, and it felt like a spotlight was shining directly on them. "Lily?" Mark prodded gently, concern creeping into his voice. "Sorry, I think this is a great opportunity for us," she stammered, forcing a smile as she redirected her gaze from the shadowy figure back to her friends. They looked at her with encouraging eyes, and she felt a flicker of strength return. As Mark continued outlining the plans for the new funding, Lily's mind raced. She had to look confident. What would people think if they sensed her fear? But the message from the unknown sender loomed large, casting a dark cloud over the meeting, and taunting her with every word Mark spoke. Hours melted away as they discussed budgets and community impact. As the meeting reached its climax, Mark shared his vision more passionately than ever. "We can change lives, we can unite people. This is about hope." The room erupted into applause, a chorus of hands clapping rhythmically together. It was infectious, and for a moment, Lily felt the weight lift. But then she instinctively glanced toward the back again. The figure was gone. Panic seared through her. Had they entered the crowd? Was she being watched? A deep dread settled in her stomach. Forget the unknown messages, this felt real right here, right now. The thought made her fingers tremble slightly against the edge of the table. "Lily, you okay?" Jenna interrupted her spiraling thoughts. "Yeah, just thinking," she replied, forcing her voice to sound casual. The meeting gradually wrapped up, and Lily lingered, wanting to speak with Mark. But as he walked past her, a woman on the edge of the gathering caught her attention. She was looking directly at Lily, a gentle smile juxtaposed with an intensity in her eyes that made Lily uneasy. "Excuse me," the woman approached. "You're Lily, right?" "Yes, I am," she replied, her voice faltering slightly. "Good. I've heard a lot about you. Your project, it's inspiring." The woman paused, then leaned in closer, lowering her voice. "But be careful who you trust. Not everyone wants to see you succeed." There was a weight to her words that sent chills down Lily's spine. What do you mean?" Lily asked, her heart racing. Just keep an eye out, the woman said cryptically before stepping back and melding into the crowd. Lily's mind reeled. Was this what the unknown sender was warning her about? Who was this woman, and why did she have such an ominous warning? She turned swiftly, searching through the throng for the figure she had seen earlier. But the crowd was separating, and the laughter and chatter faded until she felt alone in her swirling thoughts. Lily, hey! You coming? Jenna's voice broke through, bringing her back. Yeah, I'm right here, Lily managed to respond, but the weight of the encounter settled heavily on her. As they walked outside, the sun was starting to dip, casting long shadows on the pavement. She felt the kiss of the evening breeze but was still chilled by what had just happened. Are you all right? Jenna asked, studying Lily's expression as they neared her car. Just a lot to think about, Lily replied. As she unlocked her door, her phone buzzed again. This time, she hesitated, her heart thudding loudly in her chest. With a deep breath, she glanced at the screen. The familiar number flashed back. You think this is over? You have no idea what's coming. The warning curled around her like a noose, tightening with each word. What on earth was she up against? And how could she fight back against an unseen enemy? Lily looked up at the gathering clouds above, her mind racing. She had to figure this out before it was too late. She wouldn't let anyone take away her dreams, not now. But how? As she climbed into her car, one thought kept echoing in her mind. Was the price of her ambition going to cost more than she was willing to pay? The unseen war ahead loomed large. Would she be able to face it, or had she just stepped onto a path of no return? With a jolt, Lily started her car, the engine roaring to life and filling the stillness of the evening. She glanced back at the center where the meeting had just taken place. The doors were still swinging, people filtering out, laughter mingling with the fading light. But she couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. As she pulled away, her mind raced through what had just happened. The woman's words replayed in her head, thick with oh-so-subtle threats. Not everyone wants to see you succeed. Who was she? What was her interest in Lily's project? The nagging suspicion crawled under her skin, making her restless. She turned onto a quiet street, the evening shadows creeping along the pavement. Her phone buzzed again, and she quickly tucked it under her thigh, ignoring the notification. Anxiety writhed in her stomach as she navigated toward her home. Lily couldn't shake the sensation of being watched. The figure from the meeting, had they been lurking in the shadows, waiting for that perfect moment? The encounter with the woman felt tangled together with the warning she could no longer ignore, feeding her paranoia. Arriving home, she stepped into the comforting confines of her small apartment. Knickknacks scattered about spoke of simpler times and dreams yet to be chased, but tonight, they felt alien. She dropped her bag on the floor and paced the room, her thoughts on high alert. With deep breaths, she tried to ground herself. She poured a glass of water, her hands shaking slightly. You got this, she whispered to herself, voice steady but heart racing. She needed clarity. She had to make sense of all the chaos swirling around her. Lily walked over to her desk and opened her laptop. She needed to focus research. There had to be something she could do about the elusive threats. The glow of the screen illuminated her face, the familiar comfort of her workspace easing her nerves. What if she dove deeper into the sources of the unknown messages? Scrolling through her emails, she paused to ruminate on the concerns surrounding her project. Local businesses had already begun to rally behind her ambitions, and the support was undeniable. But was there an opposing force she hadn't yet identified? She opened a tab for social media and searched for any mention of the project, her heart sinking when she saw threads filled with speculation, doubt creeping into the conversation like a weed choking a budding flower. This had to be part of the warning. The whispers were louder now. Suddenly, the phone buzzed again, and this time she couldn't resist. The message was waiting, insistent, a dark omen that shattered her moment of focus. "Watch your back, Lily. You have no idea who's out to get you." A chill ran down her spine. She turned off her phone, holding her breath, feeling fatigue wash over her like a heavy blanket. Darkness crept in around her, the room feeling smaller, yet amplifying her thoughts. Did all of this mean she had to involve someone? Could she even trust anyone? Just then, a knock echoed from her front door, loud and firm, slicing through her thoughts. Her heart jolted once more. Who could it be at this hour? Lily approached the door slowly, dread pooling in her gut. As she reached for the handle, uncertainty clawed at her. Would this person be a friend or another threat lurking in the shadows? She needed answers, and right now, the world felt grim and treacherous. As she swung the door open, her breath caught in her throat. Standing there was a tall figure she recognized, but it was someone she hadn't expected to see again. The tumult of emotions hit her like a wave. "Surprised to see me?" Mark said with an intensity that suggested he had something urgent on his mind. "Yes, what are you doing here?" Mark barely had time to respond before they were interrupted by another, more sinister voice from behind him. "She has a right to know the truth." Lily felt her world tilt dangerously. What truth were they all hiding, and what did this mean for her and her project? Tension crackled in the air as Lily stood between the door and the storm outside. Mark's presence was an unexpected yet welcomed reassurance, but the voice she just heard sent a shiver down her spine. "What truth?" she asked, narrowing her eyes as she took a step back, her heart racing. The stranger stepped into the dim light of her apartment. He was tall, with piercing eyes and an air of authority that pulled her attention like gravity. "I'm here to help, but only if you're ready to listen," he said, keeping his gaze locked with hers. "Help? Or threaten?" Lily shot back, the fear twisting in her stomach. "Who are you?" Mark shifted beside her, a protective stance looming just enough to soothe her rising panic. "Just a concerned local," the stranger replied, his lips curling into a faint smile. "My name is Jordan, and I know what's happening around your project. You're stepping into dangerous waters, Lily." As she weighed his words, reality crashed down like waves against rocky cliffs. "Dangerous?" she echoed. "What do you mean? Is this about the threats?" Jordan crossed his arms, concern etched across his brow. "You've stirred old tensions, and not everyone is thrilled about your ambitions. This is about more than you, and you need to be aware of what you're getting into. Why didn't anyone tell me this earlier?" Lily's voice wavered with frustration. Anger mixed with fear, bubbling just below the surface. "I'm trying to bring my community together. This is supposed to be a good thing." Mark placed a steadying hand on her shoulder. "We won't let any shadows stop us, right?" He looked back at Jordan, unwavering. "What can we do?" Jordan nodded. "That's the spirit. But this could get messy. Let's set up a plan to protect your vision and navigate the growing negativity surrounding it." "What if I don't want to hide?" Lily declared, her voice firm yet vulnerable. "I can't back down now, it's about the town." Mark's palm clasped over Lily's, their connection grounding her. "Taking risks is part of fighting for dreams, but we have to be smart. We need allies." "You have them," Jordan assured, stepping forward. "A few of us around here want to see your idea succeed. I can rally some support. All you need to do is show them the potential." In that moment, the weight of isolation began to fade like a winter frost under the gentle spring sun. Hope flickered in her heart. "I'll do my part. But I need to know I'm not fighting alone." Suddenly, her phone buzzed again, the screen illuminating her anxious face. But this time, she picked it up without hesitation. It was a message from a known supporter, excited to help. "Count me in for the community project meeting tomorrow." The relief crashed over Lily like a wave she hadn't realized she was holding back. "See? I'm not alone," she exclaimed, radiant with the belief in the collective strength waiting just beyond her fears. Mark grinned, his eyes lighting up with determination. "Let us build our team. Let them know we're strong together." Jordan leaned against the doorframe. "Exactly, but we need to plan a strategy for this meeting. Know who your advocates are. Speak to them, and make sure they hear you." "Let us brainstorm," Lily agreed, fueled by courage, desire, and a cautious optimism as they began to strategize. Maps, names, and ideas filled the room, each suggestion expanding their vision. Hours slipped away as they transformed frantic energy into constructive plans. Lily shared her dreams with a growing intensity. She noticed with every word, every smile exchanged, that the shadows began to recede like a tide pulled back from the shore. "I believe in my dreams and the dreams of this town," Lily proclaimed, her voice resolute and vibrant. "And together, we'll show them what we can achieve." As they wrapped up, Mark leaned in, his expression serious. "Remember, Lily, you are not defined by the darkness surrounding you, but by the light you choose to bring into the world. Let that guide you." Lily felt the warmth of connection wash over her, igniting a flame that had dimmed beneath fear and doubt. She realized, standing amidst newfound allies, that hope wasn't just a flicker but a force they would harness together to push against the shadows. With her path visibly clearer, Lily vowed, no threat could extinguish the dream glowing bright inside her, one that glimmered like the dawn breaking over her small town. "Let us do this," she finally said as the first rays of tomorrow's promise peeked through the darkness. "We'll rise together." As they left, the wind whispered secrets of hope, laced with the warmth of unyielding support wrapped around the collective dreams of Maplewood. They were all in this together, ready to transform not just their world, but everyone's dream of what could be. And in that moment, Lily understood the real meaning of community, love, and courage. She was ready to fight for them all. "Now, my friend, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories, leave a like right now to feed the algorithm, comment your reactions and feelings about the ending, and please, share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.